nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
Hello. What's up, punks? That's what we've officially decided to call all the fans of the Drew and Fuse Show. You guys are all going to be called punks from here on out. And I don't know if you guys that are listening pay attention to our social media, but the acronym for the show is DAFs. So you are DAFs punks.
Show them the shirt. Let's show them the shirt.
The test run of the shirt made. There we go. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. Oh, hold on. There we go. Look at that. It's pretty amazing. If you're not, you can check out the shirt. I posted a story with it. And we have a picture of the logo on our social media, so you could check that out. How you doing, Drew? How's life today?
I am doing good. I feel like I actually rested a little bit. This was just a long weekend, and I've been going nonstop. Just got back from Florida. And actually went to a punk show on Sunday. It was No Effects, and they had an all-you-could-drink beer section, which those IPAs get a little strong after a while. But yeah, it was a good weekend, action packed.
Yeah, I had a pretty standard weekend myself. Did the bar on Friday. Did the club Saturday night. I played the last MLS home game for the FC Cincinnati on Sunday. So
did they win?
I don't even know, dude. I didn't watch. Couldn't tell you. But let's talk about our guest today that we're going to bring on. We have the theme song creator himself, DJ Fraze, sitting in the back. We're going to bring him in here in a few. If you guys don't know Fraze, here I'm going to go ahead and read an introduction on him. So here we go. From Ibiza to Vegas, from Paris to New York, Fraze's work has been featured in mixes by the Chainsmokers, Tiesto, Diplo, Major Lazer, Party Favor, Cheat Codes, and more. Fraze has been a classically trained musician and pianist since the age of 4. Fraze began DJing in 2013 and is now a resident at Seattle's top spots, View Lounge, Trinity Nightclub, Lucky Strike, and Sweet Lounge. In 2019, Fraze joined the team of exclusive editors at Direct Music Service. You can catch Fraze live on the radio with his show, The Frequency with Fraze, on Movin' 92.5, Seattle's #1 hit music station, every Friday night, as well as he DJs live for the station at the Mariners games. He's the official DJ for Pre-Funk, the official pre-party for the newest NHL team, the Seattle Kraken. He's also the creator of the Drew and Fuse Show theme song, and he's Zed's favorite DJ to steal bootlegs from. Please help us welcome DJ Fraze.
Hey, what's up?
What up?
Air horn.
I love it. How's it going, guys?
It's
good. How you doing?
Doing good.
So
we
let's
appreciate
talk
you
about
having you on here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Zed stealing your bootleg.
Oh, he sure did. Yeah, no, that was crazy. I originally saw it in his his Snapchats or his Instagram or whatever, at EDC. And at first, I actually thought he might have been playing mine, but he definitely.
Will you tell the listeners actually what the bootleg is, what song it was, and so we all know we're on the same page.
It's the Squid Game Pink Soldiers, I believe, is the name of the track, and it goes into Craze's Do It To It. And at first I was a little annoyed at Zed for doing it, but to be honest, it was a fairly obvious mashup or blend, because I made it about 2 weeks before Zed did it, but I'd been thinking about it for like a month, just because I heard the Craze track and I was like, I thought they were playing Squid Game, honestly, when I heard it, I was like, I should make that. I am less annoyed at Zed now, though, because I found on Craze's Instagram, he did it about a month before I did of his own song.
Oh, there it is.
He actually did it first, which is fair because it's his track. So
Wait, isn't a craze just another name for like another DJ? Isn't it? Isn't he like David Guetta has been playing tech house under the other name?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I think it is. I'm like 90% sure. I could be completely wrong, but I'm not sure for who. But
well, and then that do it two tracks just a cover.
Yeah, totally.
But,
So the song he's talking about, if you guys still don't know, is available for download on directmusicservice.com. So if you guys aren't familiar, you can go on there and search Fraze and a craze, and it will pop up. It's the Squid Game bootleg. What's crazy is I was kind of sleeping on that song for a minute, the Craze song, like just because when you hear it played sometimes when you're like downloading music and you're playing songs on your computer and you're going through music for the night, you're like, okay, like it just sounds like drums, whatever. Like, it's not, but then like you hear it in a club setting. Cause I played your bootleg on Halloween night in the club, and I was like, whoa, and it like went off. People like reacted to the song too. And I was like,
I wonder how much of that was assisted by Zed, to be honest, because that was like the viral moment of EDC. Like after EDC, that was like the only thing people were talking about. For some reason, they're sharing that video. He posted the full version on YouTube, and it got like 10 million plays in like a day. So like, I'm wondering if the Squid Game edit Zed did is now the reason actually that people even
pop off
reacting so much.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's interesting. I feel like some of the house or housey stuff in the club is somewhat subjective. Like you were saying, when you listen to it, like when you download it, you're like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. And it's because sometimes I feel like some of that housey stuff either is going to be the biggest hit, people are going to love it, or they're going to be like, why is the DJ playing this? And it's like,
I agree.
It's a little tricky.
It is weird right now. It seems like that the deeper house stuff is kind of becoming, I mean, it has been, but even more so in like mainstream settings, it seems like it's becoming more, what's the Jason B edit, Drew, that we were just talking about? That
Shouse, love something.
All I
need is some love.
And he did it with the
Love Tonight.
Yeah,
that one's even like pretty popular, I feel.
Yeah.
So
I haven't played that.
Well, this Do It reminds me so much of Diplo's On My Mind. It's just, like an old R&B sample, really, that they pitched down. Just, it reminds me similar of that.
That's cool.
So to segue a little bit and talking about your production, let's talk about the Drew and Fuchsia theme song. Everybody wants to know more about that.
That is a banger.
Tell us a little bit of the thought process, how you kind of went about doing it. I mean, it was quick. You sent it to us. You did it. You sent it to us, and that was pretty much it.
I think we asked you on a Sunday or a Monday, and you had it done on Wednesday. So you definitely
the story. You asked me like a month before, and I was slow.
But for the most part, I mean, the cleanup nicely. For all of those that don't know the whole story, we were out in our tuxedo shirts in downtown Cincinnati. We were going to take pictures, and we're walking out of Fuse's building, and this old lady goes, "Boy, you two clean up nicely." And we just thought it was fucking hilarious. We were dying about it. So that's when we had texted you about that. So we didn't have the full part of it until that day. So you did crank it out pretty fast.
I made it in a day. I made it in the evening, more or less. And then I like tweaked it a little bit like another day, but mostly it was in a day. I mean, the song itself is fairly, it's simple. It's short enough that like I could do it fairly quick. But I started with like, you guys had sent me some like reference tracks, and the one I think you guys had sent me the most was Everything Is Awesome.
Everything Is Awesome.
Yeah.
The Lego one. It's an earworm, really, right? It's sticking in your head, and it just I remember when I have a 12-year-old daughter, and I remember when we went to see that at the theater. For the next like 3 days, I was just, everything is awesome. Just constantly in your head.
Yeah. So that's what I mostly base it on, even though like it doesn't really sound like that track, but it like that was kind of where the intention came from.
Right.
And it's similar in like the vocal line is like the Drew and Fuchsia, the Drew and Fuchsia, the Drew and Fuchsia. Like it just keeps on saying it.
Right.
But like I kind of went with that direction, and the first thing I ended up doing was I kind of just dug for a sample that the like main guitar riff throughout all of it is just a sample. It's a loop that I found, and I just dug through a bunch of loops until I found something that I felt had that like kind of driving energy that I thought Everything Is Awesome had. And it's very different because it's like a guitar loop, and Everything's Awesome is more like a, I don't know, like early 2000s synth beat kind of thing. Yeah. But I did that, and then I think I sang a really rough version of the like melody on top of it to like make sure it would work.
Now, is this all at Ableton?
Yeah, all in Ableton. I pretty much exclusively use Ableton now. I started on FL Studio, and I still have it, but like now that I'm so used to Ableton, whenever I go back to FL Studio, like I think I had some friend that was still on FL ask me like, "Oh, how do you do this?" And I was like, "I can probably figure that out. I used to do that." And I went back and I was like, "How do I use this program?" Like the workflow is just so different. So to me, it's easier to just stick in Ableton. But
yeah, you sang it. You sang it. It's you. That's him. That's him you're hearing on there.
Yeah, it's the guy.
I was even this mic, so
pretty awesome.
And how did that? Okay, so the vocals are incredible. In fact, if you didn't tell me that was you, that I would not have even put that together. I know now, right? Yeah. Listening to it, it's obviously you. But at the time, I just thought, who did the vocals? That's incredible. Yeah, so where did all this come from? Is this a new project you got in the works where you're going to start recording your own music?
That's been my intent. Although that said, that's been my intent for like 2 years, and I haven't overly done it. I have started some originals, but I've never put them out. But yeah, about 2 years ago, I went to a Chainsmokers concert, and it was really good. It was like one of the best concerts I've ever seen. If you've never been to a Chainsmokers concert, you got to go to one. But yeah, and that's when I changed my hair to the color that Drew's hair was at the concert, and decided I need to learn how to sing. So more or less, I just wanted to become the Chainsmokers. So I started vocal lessons. And to me, the reason that I'm like such a big fan of theirs, or Drew's in particular, is I don't know if you guys remember when Closer came out and he sang at like the VMAs or something with Halsey, and it was like the worst like live performance ever to happen.
Everybody was talking so much shit on that.
Yeah, and I've heard interviews with them saying that after that performance, like they got on their jet and went over to DJ Vegas or wherever the hell they were going, and they kept on getting hit up by all of these idols that like they had loved forever and like never talked to them before. Like I don't know, they get like a message from like David Guetta being like, "Wow, that sucked," or something like that. And like we looked up to these guys forever, and they finally notice us, and it's because we sucked. So, but to go from that to honestly live, he's sometimes you can tell if people are lip syncing or if they're not. Like he was definitely doing it all live, and he sounded like fantastic. And so
especially those performances, right? They almost insist on him lip singing.
Yeah, but he was killing it, and while running around the stage doing all this crazy stuff. And I thought that was really impressive. And it's impressive particularly because he at one point sucked, and like that was inspiring to me because I was like, I kind of suck, but like that doesn't mean I can't learn. So yeah, I started doing vocal lessons, and the intention's been to make my own vocals on music, because I know that some people would disagree, but I think the only real way to like really make it popular with your music is to have your own singing on it. Personally, I guess for like what I'm trying to do, I'm not necessarily trying to be like just a producer for other people and be like hidden.
Well, even like Calvin Harris, some of his biggest tracks are him singing on, feel so close. And
I would even say that like you can even just being able to like demo the record, like maybe you're not the final version that goes out, but if you have all these ideas in your head and then you can lay the track to it too, to give the idea of how you want it sang, that's a game changer.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah. No, I think so too.
But speaking of chain smokers, I remember being at the DMS party in Vegas, and they were playing Fraze's remix to one of their songs at that year. Do you remember what song that was specifically?
I don't know off the top of my head. I know which one it is though.
Is it "Don't Let Me Down"? Was it "Don't Let Me Down"? I think it was.
I think it was. Maybe it was Paris.
Paris, that's what it was. Because what's his name that made the video used it for the video too, the DMS party video. It was the Paris song. That's right. Yeah. Dude, that was pretty cool. Being like, whoa, they're playing your song. Like we were all there. I mean, there is nothing cooler than that. It doesn't matter how big of a DJ you are, if you're playing whatever, is hearing another guy like in that big of a setting playing your song. I'm
kind of jealous. That's been something I've wanted. I haven't gone to Vegas that many times, but it's like a bucket list thing to go to Vegas and hear my song somewhere. Like I'm sure I could if I went in. Like if that was my full intent, like I'd just go around to every DJ and just be like, but it's better when it's random. It's better like, oh, I want to go see the Chainsmokers, right? And then like you aren't expecting it. That's when it's really cool.
To circle back around, I think that you should definitely just start putting your stuff out and singing, because the theme song was great and your voice sounded great.
Thanks.
And I think that it's you got to go for it, and you can't go anywhere if you're not putting the stuff out. So you got to put the stuff out.
Well, I would also like to say, something that we've done with the show. Fuse was like, "Fuck it, man, we're going live. We're doing it. We just set a date. We did it, and we're stumbling as we go. But you gotta go for it. And I think some of the best stuff comes from not really overthinking it. This theme song, for instance, to me, came out so amazing. I can't stop singing it, and it was basically done in like 2 days, right? So
for sure.
Not overthinking it and really just going for it, I think is the move. So
another cool thing about the theme song, I guess, on the vocal side, it has lots and lots of vocal layers, which I think is pretty cool. I had just got this new plugin called Vocal Line, which is really cool. You set your like lead vocal, and then you just throw Vocal Line on your like backup or your double vocals, and it automatically syncs it to like the same like cadence and everything as your original one. Which traditionally you'd have to do that through like super chopping up and stretching your secondary vocals, but now you can just throw this thing on there, and it's like, oh, it's perfect.
So is that the same? The backups are the same as the lead?
No, they're all different recordings.
Oh, they're all different recordings.
There's
I get it.
Yeah. So there's the main vocal, and then the main vocal is completely doubled with just a secondary version of me singing exactly the same thing. And then there's a third one that's really wide. So like it's the same thing, exactly everything all sung again, but it's pretty quiet, and I like made it super stereo. As kind of like a filler thing. And then there's all the like the chants on like kind of the responses. I try to make it sound like a crowd was like screaming it. And that's literally me like screaming it like 10 different times, and kind of like forgetting about any pitch or anything. It's literally just like screaming it. And then layered that all together, kind of panned that around a bunch so it sounds like the voices are coming from a bunch of places.
I gotta say, I love it too, because it reminds me of the Drew Carey song where he's like, "Ohio, Ohio, Ohio" at the end. I love that, and it's amazing.
I actually got that idea from about a week prior. I helped my buddy produce the goal song for the Kraken games, the hockey team up here. So it's just a version of Lithium. But during the chorus, it drops out to this "Let's go Kraken" like chant. The idea is like everyone else in the stadium like comes along and says it, but like,
is it possible to play that real quick?
I don't have it easily accessible, but
no worries.
But yeah, it's literally me and my housemates recorded like a bunch of times and stacked. And I got to go hear it in the stadium, and it was like one of the coolest things.
That's
rad.
And it's every time they score at a home game. But yeah, it's stacked and it sounded so dope, and especially after hearing it in the stadium and stuff, I was like working on your guys' track, and I was like, I'm gonna try to do that again. So
that's cool. That's pretty cool to know that that's where the inspiration came from too.
Yeah.
So would you say that being from Seattle, that like Nirvana, you play a lot of Nirvana in your sets, and does it get a reaction?
It can, but not necessarily. I would almost say some of that stuff feels overdone here.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like whenever any DJs like visit, they're like, oh, we got to play all the Seattle artists. But if you're actually from here, like people don't really care that much.
But the theme song that is on there, it's the Lithium sing along for the Kraken, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
cool.
a massive sing along in itself, so I could see that really working.
But it's like, I like it, let's go Kraken. Yeah, it's like that. It's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
So another question for you that I have, and I was really serious with this one, and Nirvana kind of coming up in, obviously Seattle, and being totally grunge, and the outfits just being like grungy,
flannels.
And then Macklemore being from Seattle.
Yeah.
Would you say that thrift shopping is a big thing in Seattle?
Yeah, no, it actually is. I personally am not a fan, and I was going to offend everyone else in Seattle. But I don't love thrift shopping myself, but a lot of people do here.
Is there a lot of thrift shops for real? That question started out as a joke, but now it's
actually. Yeah. No, there are. There's a lot of there's like the bigger ones, and then there's a lot of like smaller thrift shops that people operate. There's sort of like a hippie culture up here that a lot of people like thrift shop for.
Would have never guessed that.
Is there a specific thrift shop that Macklemore was actually referring to?
I think there actually is. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I think it's on Cap Hill. There's a small thrift shop. I could be wrong. I could be getting mixed up with like a story that I think some friend told me they like saw him in a thrift shop on Cap Hill once or something. But I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, thrift shopping's a thing.
It's real thrift shops, right? Not those. What do they call them? Where they basically go buy all the clothes from the thrift shop and then take it back to their store and triple the price. Yeah. It's not that.
No, I don't think so. Well, especially. I personally have never been thrift shopping in Seattle, but like I grew up in Olympia, which is like an hour and a half from Seattle, and we had a ton of thrift shops, and they're all like weird little local places that you can go find some strange stuff.
Which is where Nirvana's from, Olympia.
I think Nirvana's. I could be getting it wrong, but I think they're from Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, yes, you're correct.
Which is, it's more towards the ocean, but it is. Yeah, that's pretty close to me. Everyone from here that says they're from Seattle is normally from somewhere near Seattle. Like I say it too.
Right.
They're like, where are you from? Seattle? I'm like, nah, I live in Tacoma. But
it's funny to me that like I see it a lot, and I don't know if you guys do. We're all in different parts of the United States, but that whole grunge look to like in some phases and people I see in the bar is like back. Like I see tons of chicks wearing Doc Marten boots and oversized jeans and a Nirvana t-shirt that they probably can't name one song from, and a flannel t-shirt. Like
it's really the 90s is so back. I have one of my sister-in-law, she from time to time will basically be wearing the outfit from Jennifer Aniston Friends in a Friends episode. We're like, holy shit.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I remember weirdly, like I wear glasses or whatever, and I remember as a kid thinking it was super weird that my mom had like really big glasses. Because there was like a phase where glasses got really small, and that was cool. But yeah, like now, like big glasses are back, and
It's funny what's old is new again. Even with music, we were talking the last time we were talking is like how like everything, and Drew and I were side texting at our gigs this weekend, but like everything, you know, that was kind of cheesy with like the disco stuff is almost coming back. Like there was a song I text Drew, somebody came up and requested, and it was the Mamas and Papas, the California Dreamin', but it's like a new remix of that. And it like it literally sounds like, though, to me, like the producer, and I think it's like on Spinnin' or something. It's like a Spinnin' guy. And it just sounds like he took the vocal and then put some drums underneath it. And that's like, that's it. So, but it's funny that, I mean, Drew, you're playing a lot of like the covers are big right now. Like the
indie dance, new disco. I almost feel, you know, when Daft Punk redid that, or just did their last album, which apparently was like 2013. Was that right?
Random Access Memories.
But and a lot of the promo material for it, they really go and talk about how we had to go back to go to the future, and they were redoing disco and revisiting all that stuff. And I felt over the last couple of years, that's kind of where it's gone. They almost called it, and it's a lot of that disco is just so big right now. I have couples at my weddings say, "Don't play any cheesy shit." And I go, okay, well, can you explain to me what your cheesy is? And, you know, it would be something a little bit newer, like a Bruno Mars is like cheesy to them now. It's played out. But Celebration is okay, or We Are Family is okay. And going, this world is turned around.
No, I've seen stuff like that too. It's super weird. Requests are weird. You gotta read the person to even understand what they're asking for.
Right.
Like, what's cheesy to you? Like, what's cool to you? You know, like, what's something we can dance to you? You know, like.
Completely. Well, before we get too far off the Seattle topic, you know, you're playing for the games now. I just was curious, what are some big sing along or just sports anthem songs that you're playing at the games?
Let me pop open my Mariners folder here and see what's in here. Weirdly, I was going to say as like the covers of songs, I've been playing "Listen to Your Heart," but like a cover of it, a house cover that I really.
Who's that by?
It's like the covers by Esketa and Natin Chain. But
I know that song though. Listen to Your Heart.
Yeah.
It's Roxette is the original, right? Roxette.
Wow.
I think so. That song's been dope, but I just really like the cover.
I'm gonna have to add that to the list.
Yeah. At games, I've been playing. It's kind of like a mixture of like the funky kind of stuff, the funky stuff, and like the hard hitting like horns and anthems sort of stuff. Like I'll play like Seven Nation Army and stuff like that because like it just gets people hyped.
Right.
But I'll also play like.
Are you playing like Gary Glitter?
Honestly, I really should be. Yeah,
I think he was. I think he was canceled actually for.
Oh yeah, he went through some crazy stuff.
Yeah. He was canceled, but
I'm not sure people.
He R. Kelly'd everybody.
But yeah.
I don't think people know he's canceled because it plays at the football games here.
Yeah.
The Bengals games.
Wow.
That's
one of those songs that no one knows who's it's by.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Like, it's the sports song. Like,
the arena sports anthem.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'll play it at the bar sometimes and people go nuts. They just lose their mind. I'm like, this is crazy. Gary Glitter. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So,
it's an anthem.
Do you have some of the other anthems in front of you there, or songs that you're playing?
Yeah, it's like stuff I've been playing.
Welcome to the Jungle, I think would be big.
I have been playing a lot of the more like Seattle centric like songs too, like Pearl Jam, some Nirvana, like Foo Fighters, Hendrix, stuff like that.
Which Pearl Jam song? I'm somewhat curious. Alive, maybe?
Let's see.
That like guitar riff coming in would be pretty cool. Oh, Even Flow, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm playing some like Heart and stuff. Those are just all like the Seattle hits like that. But I also play like I just like the fun stuff. Like I'll play like The Freak or September or Good Vibrations.
Do they give you
Lady.
rules? Do they give you rules on what you have to play or genres, or do they guide you in any way, or are they kind of
Not
free
really.
reign, just don't have any cussing?
Don't have any cussing, free range. I just like to play stuff like that's why I like the funky vibe. I like stuff that's just like fun and danceable, and I want to try to get like kids dancing and stuff like that because most of the stuff I've been playing or like the places I've been playing for the sports games is like there is a dance floor area, but no one that came there intended to dance. So it's not like a raging party. Most of the people are like there, like in the Mariners games, we play kind of in like this hangout drinking area, but like we play like during the game and stuff. So all the people are trying to watch the game. And you can get them going for like a song or two, but the most like successful way to grab people is to like play the stuff like kids and stuff want, because they'll come and dance, or like you want people as they walk by like on their way to the game or to get their drinks to be like hella vibing, and that happens a lot. But I find like the fun stuff, like the funky stuff, like you almost can't help but dance to it, or you can't help but like vibe to it.
Right.
So that stuff works well for like the sort of an audience that never really intended to dance today.
Yeah, it's got to be good, but it can't be like over their head. And you don't also want to be like at the game seeming like people are there to see you and there's a whole game going on.
Exactly. Like, but you're just trying to make a really good atmosphere is kind of the gist.
Yeah, totally. So with that being said, something we've been asking everybody on the show is their top 5 Serato songs. So we want to segue into that since we're kind of talking about songs already.
You guys will absolutely hate my number 1.
Oh, he prefaces it with "We're gonna hate it." I can't wait to hear it.
Just because I've heard you guys hate on the track on here a couple times. Do you have a guess what it is?
I have no idea, actually.
Is it Peppa's?
No. That'd be insane if that was the number 1 most played. I've had to play that a lot in the last like 2 months.
Is it Mariah Carey?
No.
Oh, no, it's Mariah Carey.
It's Usher, yeah.
Usher, yeah.
Oh,
I don't hate him.
I don't hate on that one. No.
Yeah. Okay. It's
Drew only
into Bend Over.
Okay.
Yeah, Bend Over.
I think Drew's only hate on stuff like that is when like, like a DJ is posting a video of them like crushing it in the club. And it's like, I just played like 3 no-brainers. Like, this is how we do it. Into into like, I don't know, DMX Party Up.
It's like DJs at a wedding and they're posting their dance floor pop in and they're playing the Cupid Shuffle. It's going, that's
how is it when
okay,
you're not
Usher,
playing that song? Yeah. But
I can see Usher, 100%. That's probably in my top 10, I'm sure.
I play it too. That isn't normally I don't play that at like peak hour. It's kind of my like get the crowd to trust you song. So like as soon as I start having people coming in and they're having like starting to have a really good time, I'll like drop that, and normally it'll bring in twice as many people because there's already a group in there having a good time. Now they're having a really good time too, because it's a banger song, and then everyone else sees it and comes in, and it's like starts the party going and starts trusting me.
I have a question. We do a lot of bars. Fuse plays down at the Banks, and it's just all bars. So are you playing? Is it a lot of people just coming in and out constantly? It's just a big row of bars. Are you referring to?
No. So I play a lot of like, so like my Friday spot is Lucky Strike, which the Bellevue Lucky Strike is the number 1 Lucky Strike for nightlife. So compared to other Lucky Strikes, as they're a franchise, not even all of them have nightclubs in them, but we have 2 different rooms in ours, 2 different.
I've seen videos. It looks crazy.
Yeah, and then a new club just went in upstairs that has a full nightclub as well. So more or less, there's like 3 full nightclubs in a very close vicinity. So it's kind of like the multiple bar thing, except for it's like multiple nightclub thing, and they're all like free entry. So it's similar, where if you play something whack, like they can leave and go somewhere else really, really easily.
Right.
It's also like a large venue for other reasons. Like they have arcade games, they have multiple bars. So even in the one venue, you can like lose your dance floor and regain it. That said, it also isn't necessarily like the venue doesn't look at it poorly if the dance floor isn't packed. If there's a lot of people in their venue, too, it's kind of strange.
No,
are people bowling at the same time?
Yeah. I mean, you're not gonna see the people bowling like stop bowling to come dance,
Right,
because they're in the middle of the game. But yeah, so we play to like the club. And then it's also piped through the whole venue. So the people bowling, the people doing arcade games.
How big are the rooms? Like the different rooms? How many people would you say you fit in like the different rooms?
The main one's the Grand, and it has you could fit. I don't know. I would say like comfortably in that room, you could fit like 80. I mean, it's like big, but it's not giant. And then it's attached to like a bar though. So like the bar room and that room combined, you could probably fit like 150, like 200 people in it.
Okay.
And then the other one in the same venue is more like lounge style, and it's even a little smaller. But the whole venue itself is pretty big. But.
So are you guys playing different formats in each of the rooms? Like, is it like one guy's playing like house and then one guy's playing like top 40?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Actually, right now we haven't been using the lounge a lot recently since COVID. But it used to be like the lounge was more like throwbacks and hip hop, and the main room was more like pop focused and like top 40, feel good. Try to get it to like high energy, like some remixes, like more like that kind of direction. But yeah, that's kind of what I mean by people come and go. Just trying to get them in the room and like get the party started.
And is that with the same with all your venues, you would say? Whereas like they're all kind of got spots to hop around to within all the venues you play?
Sort of, yeah. Not all of them. But yeah, there's a couple clubs I play at that you have more of like a captive audience. Like they're probably not going to go anywhere else.
So I always like to call it like, okay, it's a bar hopping bar, or I say a destination bar. And obviously the bar hopping bar is like where there's a bunch of different bars around and people come in through. And then like, whereas like the club I play on Saturday nights is a destination spot. People come there just to go to the club and they leave. So
for sure. Yeah, I would say. And
it's a different style of DJing, really. You're playing a little bit faster at the bar hopping spot just to keep their attention.
100%. I would say a lot of the places I play are more destination-y, but ironically, they're destination-y like in a pretty big city with a lot of venues. So like it's like I think people intend on a lot of spots I play at to only go out to that spot, but that doesn't mean they couldn't change their mind and leave.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what's the number 2 song on the list?
Number 2, this is because of my Thursday gig, but it's Hicktown by Jason Aldean.
Hicktown, Jason Aldean. Well, goddamn.
I don't even know that song. Is there like a dance to it, or?
Yeah, it's a pretty big line dance at the country bar.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Tell the listeners you do a country bar on Thursdays.
Yeah, every Thursday, DJ Country Bar. It's super awesome. That's here in Tacoma too, which is nice. So I find myself driving to Seattle or Bellevue like 4 or 5 days a week, which is an hour drive. So it's really nice to me to have gigs in Tacoma where it's like a 10-minute drive. So that's my Thursday spot. And it's super fun, but it's completely different from the other spots I play at.
Explain, because I know we've talked about this and I find it fascinating. You're not only playing country at the country bar, right?
Not exclusively, but mostly. The way that I see there's 2 types of country bars. There's ones that have a general country vibe, but people mostly go there just to like party at a bar. And then there's more of like what my bar is like, and there's a lot of songs people do line dances to. There's a lot of 2-step partner dances they want to do to songs. And for both of those vibes, they want the entire song from the first beat to the last beat. And they even kind of get angry at you if you like try to blend them or anything. They're like, stop. Like, what are you doing? We're not done. So
I actually have a question. Is when you're playing that, do you know, is there segments in the night where it's, hey, this is a mixed part of the night. Hey, this is a taut line dance part of the night. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's pretty much all the line dance part, except for somewhere in the middle of the night around like, I don't know, depends on how the crowd is, but like, I don't know, like 12:31ish, I'll go do like more of a like top 40 hip hop set, just to get the crowd partying for a second. And then I'll speed through tracks at that point.
Right.
Partially because I know that there's people in there that want to party to that kind of vibe. But like, if you played those songs like the same way I was playing all the other songs and I played them all for like 2.5 minutes or whatever, it would be very quickly to be like, this was a country bar, you know, like, what are you doing? So I'll go play like a bunch of like hip hop songs or something, but I'll probably just like a 5 to 10 minute segment, and I'll play like 15 songs, and people will like really love it. And then I'm like, okay, I got to get back to the country stuff so these people don't hate me.
Is Fancy like crushing right now?
It is. There's a line dance to that at our bar.
Gosh, you are a better man than me, because if I had to do that, I would just quit DJing. I would quit DJing altogether. I hate that song, Fancy Like.
Really?
I don't care that you think Applebee's.
You don't like Applebee's?
Cool. Bro, get out of here with that shit. That's what I said. No, that doesn't mean I hate you guys. I just hate that song. I hate it so much.
I get it.
Let's be honest. Who actually likes Applebee's? It's just
clearly this guy.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the song. It's like, yeah, I'm fancy. It's a joke. I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. But country music is kind of driving me nuts lately, because everything is kind of going that route where it's like, let's see how much of the stereotype we can live up to be. Like, we're all hillbillies.
Country music's the new. It's like the new EDM. It's like a bracket genre thing, because under it you have like Marshmello and Diplo make country music. Then you have like these pop stars,
Lil Nas X,
and you have like Lil Nas X making hip hop country music. Like, the country is such a broad genre at this point.
I hate it, all of it. Don't get me wrong.
You're the normal open format DJ. I find it funny. Everyone in Seattle is like, yeah, I'm open format except for country. Like,
dude, I just hate it. I don't hate like all country. I love like Johnny Cash and like some of that real classic like outlaw country. I really like. I'd like a lot of that, but I think that it's a little more, to me, it's a little more rock and roll and less like commercial, in the sense of country to me anymore is so manufactured songs. It's like, let's get 8 writers in a room and let's write a country hit. Like, and I just
this
like that.
Editor on DMS would probably hate what you're saying, Plaid Blazley. I feel like
oh my
really
God.
agree with you.
Poor Plaid.
That guy's crazy.
He is crazy,
dude. That guy. Listen, he is who he is. You know,
he's a wild man.
He's a wild man.
But no, my country bar is fun because it's one of the most chill gigs I do. And because I end up playing most of the songs all the way out, it's a lot about programming. It's about like keeping everyone in the bar happy, because there's the two-step, there's the line dances. And so, but I'm like, I program it out. I take a lot of requests there. It's like the only place that requests are, I don't have to play them, but they're more on my mind. Like if someone requests something from me at one of the clubs, I'll be like, yeah, maybe if it's good. But at the country bar, like I will try to normally play it if it fits, and I'll try to get through everybody's.
With all the line dances that you're doing, do you have to group them? And these are 2-step line dances. This is a hoedown or a 4-stepper. I don't know the terms, but do you group them in a row? Right? You can't do a 2-step with a 4-stepper with a hoedown. Right?
Well,
right? Does it all have to be grouped?
There's line dances, and then there's more like specialty dances or like couple dances. Like we have like waltzes or like cha-chas or like stuff like that. Those are more like partner dances, and so you have to like sprinkle those in throughout the night. And then the line dances, they really all vary per song. There's a different line dance for everyone. Somehow people have memorized like 60 of these. and they know, when Hicktown comes on or whatever, they know to go out there and do like this exact dance.
Is there an instructor, or people are just kind of walking along?
We do line dance lessons every Thursday before I start. Like 8 to 9 line dance lessons, but I teach one dance and then they leave. So it's just like people just remember them.
I think the whole concept of it's cool, even though I hate country, and I can't wait till when I come to Seattle. I'm flying in early. Yeah. I'm going to buy myself a nice Stetson, and I'm wearing it to that place. And I'm standing in the DJ booth, do-si-doing with your ass all night.
It's going to be great. But no, it's a fun gig because literally it's so chill. I play songs all the way out because it's what they want. I program the night, and then the people there it's the most regulars of anywhere I play. Like, my Friday nights at Lucky Strike, I'm there every Friday, but like there's a couple people I notice every Friday, but it's mostly like a different crowd all the time. There's a lot of people in like Seattle, Bellevue.
But that's cool. It's a compliment to you that they keep coming.
But yeah, literally the country bar people, they come because of me. And like if I'm not there and someone covers for me, they're like annoyed. And weirdly, so there's 3 DJs at the country bar. I do Thursdays, there's a Friday, and there's a Saturday one. And like if I cover for like a Friday or a Saturday, they'll be annoyed that their DJ isn't there. Like, so they the people on Thursday that are there, it really feels like they're there for me, or like they really like what I do and how I work with them, and they're all kind of like my friends. And like because I'm not really actively mixing, I literally just sit around and drink, talk with people, hang out. Like it's such a chill gig. It's so different than my other ones. Like it's not really DJing in the same sense, but a lot of it still applies. It's all about like programming and making everyone happy. I think what I was even going to say earlier is like those kinds of gigs like that. It's like people build trust within the DJ, and like it's very important to have the regularity of that kind of thing. Of like they know what they're getting because they know you might play a couple top 40 songs, but they also know you're going to go back to playing the songs that they like so they can line dance and they feel comfortable with you and all of that. And I'm not a hater in the sense of like, I literally want to go there when I come out there because I hate country, but I also like learning more about that kind of stuff. So like, it's just something I'm interested in terms of like, I would think it would be awesome to hang out there all night and just watch it and like have fun doing something that I typically wouldn't ever get to do anywhere else. From my knowledge, there is nothing like that here in Cincinnati. There is not a bar like that I know of at all. And if anybody's listening, please tell me differently. But yeah. That's cool.
Do you want to get back to the top 5 Serato songs? No, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay to get distracted. People are going to love hearing about some of these topics with the different bars and how, because you're so diverse in what you do. So.
Wait, I actually wanted to say if we do get up there, we're going. We're both getting boots and hats, and we're definitely going.
Let's go. Me and Drew are going to be out there 2-stepping together.
Good.
That'll be our next promo is boots and hats.
Boots and another way y'all clean up nicely.
Oh my god. Clean up nicely in all the different versions. I love that.
Oh, okay. And then we got to redo the theme song in like the country version.
That's right. Here we go.
Yes.
Get some twang in there.
Are you playing any of the Diplo remixes? Or I know he had that new stuff.
His
or
album.
Are they not feeling that in the country bars?
I did for a bit. So it's interesting, actually. The line dances stick around for seemingly forever because I mean they've learned the whole thing to them. The 2-step songs are what kind of can change, and like depending on what's new or hitting, and some of those stick around too if they're like a classic everyone loves. But something like some of the Diplo stuff, I was playing like around when it came out, and people liked it a lot. I haven't so much anymore, but I could still throw some of that in. But that's more of like a choice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then hit him with number 3.
My number 3 song is also actually because of Steel Creek, but it's a little less expected. It's Footloose by Kenny Loggins.
Okay.
I have a question. So I do a ton of weddings, and for some reason I've been getting more requests for the Blake Shelton version. I don't agree with it. I think it's not as good.
Well, no, it's not. You know. It's funny because like at the country bar we play that song, but we play Kenny Loggins. I will play the Blake Shelton version if someone directly requests that. But if they just say Footloose, I'm playing Kenny Loggins.
Now, I got a question. One more question about the country bar. Are they like super purists there? Like if there is a song that is like the original, they want to hear the original in general over the cover, or are they still cool with covers?
Depends on what they learned it to.
Gotcha. So it's whatever made famous, basically.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty much.
What about like a redrum or any of that? Are you just playing the original? Do you do videos at the country bar too?
I don't. They do have, there's TVs all in there. So one of the other DJs does do videos, which is pretty cool. But no, yeah, they mostly, I'm just playing originals. I'm not really doing that much of the redrums. I used to do some redrums, but honestly, I have a hard time finding country redrums I like. A lot of the guys that do the country edits, I don't feel the edits that often. But yeah, there are some. So it's interesting that like there's Footloose. It isn't that unexpected, but there are some weird ones we have line dances to. There's a line dance to Barbie Girl. There's a line dance to Can't Stop the Feeling, Timber. Like there's some Men in Black. There's some like weird ones that you wouldn't expect, but people love it.
I've seen Can't Stop the Feeling. No, I've seen. I have a bunch of friends that work at a country bar, and I went, and there was Black Eyed Peas. I Got a Feeling.
Okay.
They would do that dance. I have seen Timber. To me, is a country song, kind of. You know, the video's kind of country.
I mean, he even says, "Swing your partner round and round."
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mix it in with "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" if I'm going into. Does that go off there?
It does. That's actually one of the few ones that'll go off. Some of the like really big sing-along anthems will go off there, even if they're not in a dance in particular.
Do you play the chicks because they aren't? The other word isn't in their name anymore. Do you play the chicks? Goodbye, Earl.
I haven't been, but that might work.
That's one that is a. I did a bar here for a while. That's a karaoke bar. And I would always get there like an hour early because it was just straight comedy to watch people bomb singing songs, right?
The new weird funny one they like there is a song called Dick Down in Dallas.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that one.
I absolutely hate it. But.
Have you heard of the country artist Wheeler Walker Jr.? He's like a country like parody singer. Like he's got some songs that are kind of getting popular, but the main one is "Eating Pussy and Kicking Ass." And if you haven't heard that song, it's hilarious.
I think I have heard that one, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
we need to get the Drew and Fuse Show podcast or Spotify playlist going because some of these I'm writing down.
That's a great idea. Yeah, 100%.
Just songs that we talk about.
Songs on here. I love that. That's awesome. All right, next song.
Yeah.
Or getting away from the country songs finally. Number 4 is a Hotel Room Service.
Okay. Yeah, that one's big. I feel like that's resurged lately in like the last 2 years, maybe since COVID, basically. I feel like people have just been going crazy to that song.
That's one of my favorite whole theater songs to get people to sing to.
Yeah.
Just chant it like crazy.
Do you ever mix it in with Friday? That because it's kind of the same thing, right? Am I tripping?
Yeah. I do. I like it because it's in that group to me of up tempo songs that the audience doesn't necessarily realize is up tempo. Does that make recently up tempo stuff has been working better to the general audience, but for a long time I almost felt like you had to trick them, especially because a lot of our like bar or like clubs here are very hip hop centric. So if you go up and you start playing like EDM bangers, they're like, "What are you doing?" But there's some songs
My Humps, right?
Yeah,
My Humps isn't really
like "Baby Got Back" or
like Nicki Minaj "Starships" or something like that.
Flo Rida "Low."
Exactly. Yeah, you can go up and play some of that stuff, and no one really bats an eye compared to you. I would say even like Starships is starting to edge on the like this is cheesy up tempo stuff, but it bangs, like it's great. But
I think we need a hotel California, a hotel motel Fraze remix. I see that. Good. Throw that in the pot of stuff.
I have a transition
updated version
of it that goes from Hotel Room Service to there was like a Chris Brown song or something like a year ago that sampled it. It's Wiggle It.
I vaguely remember that.
Montana City Girls. And it's like a transition out of it. But
I got a question. So when you play just room service at any night you're playing, do you play it where it goes straight into the horns, or do you play it into the hook? How do you play it?
Yeah, I played it into the like just the horn.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Same. Yeah.
And then it does the horns for like a second, and then it goes right into the chorus, I believe. But yeah, that has hit really, really well for me.
Yeah, that one hits well for me too.
That's one of the Pitbull ones that I stopped playing. It's not in my 5 Pitbull max a night.
Yeah.
And so I might have to bring that back into the rotation. I was de-Pitbulling songs for a while. So Usher, DJ's Falling in Love, we would edit out Pitbull verses and just have the de-Pitbull version. So I might have to throw some of these. To me are banned in my head. I need to go back in and
I feel like Hotel Room Service is one of those ones you can play like horns, chorus, and get out of it. Like you just hit it real quick. But yeah, I like that one. I've been playing it normally if I go up and play like Pepos and like the Ghetto or stuff like that. I'll like throw that in there as like more of a fun throwback when I'm playing like some of those newer up-tempo bangers.
Awesome. I think that's a good one. I've been recently playing that one a lot too. So I agree with, and Drew, got to get back on that one.
Yeah.
I play Friday more than I play Hotel Room Service. I like that Friday. That video still cracks me up to no end. So whether it goes off or not, I'm still playing. I love it. And I think people do the dance. At least you got to get in and out of it quick. But people will do the dance and move on. It's funny. All right, number 5.
My last one is Punjabi MC. I don't even know how to say the title right. Moondane to Bak K or whatever.
Beware of the Boys. I think
Beware of the Boys
labeled.
Yeah.
Beware of the Boys.
All right. Yeah, it's a banger.
Yeah. It's I have like the Kid Spin You Don't Know bootleg. It just like adds a lot of energy to it. But that's been working weirdly. We have a lot of requests for like Punjabi music up here.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know if there's a large Indian population or something, but like that song hits really well in Seattle for some reason.
Interesting.
Dude, I have a funny story about that song. This is like when I first started DJing. So this is like 2006, 7-ish. Maybe it was a little later because I was at the club already. So maybe it was probably like 2008 or 2009. But this Indian guy came up to me and I didn't know what he was saying because his accent was so thick. And I felt really bad because he was like being really nice and like he was like Night Rider song. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he keeps saying that same thing, Night Rider song. And I'm like, what? And he was saying Night Rider song, like the Night Rider. But he really meant Punjabi MC, Beware of the Boys. And I played it and the dude lost his mind. Like, because I finally it was like maybe 45 minutes later where it like hit me in my head like, oh.
I thought the Night Rider sample was actually, it was a Busta Rhymes track.
Quite possibly. But,
it is a Busta Rhymes track. Let's see.
Yeah, people who love that song really love that song. I've played it before and had some dude come up and like, can you play it again?
Like, turn it up. Busta Rhymes fired it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that does sound familiar as well.
I don't know that that's what he was referring to, but yeah.
Who knows, dude? It was so long ago. But I think Punjabi MC's even got a song called Night Rider or something too, maybe. I don't know. I'm Googling right now. I can't see. Maybe it was me. Maybe I was the big idiot that night. Which is cool. I'll take that. I was maybe an idiot. But I also was new to DJing still. Had no idea. Still don't, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's my top 5.
All right.
Those are all.
I love how different everybody's is. It's so good.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it's fun.
The country bar. I could sit there and ask 100 billion questions about that place all night, but
it's a unique spot. It's very different than a lot of places people DJ.
So one of the things that I feel like I think you're always great with is when you are playing and your pictures come out, it's always like you're always like having a good time, and the pictures always look great, and you're always so active in the pictures. Confidence and mood and energy, I think, and we both think, is really important to like successful DJ performance. What would you say? Like, do you have any tips or tricks to like going into a set and just how to, how you stay positive about all that?
I read a really cool quote like yesterday or something. It was like skimming Instagram or whatever. And I saw some quote that was like, DJing is not about the music. It's about like the energy and connection you build with your crowd. And like, it's like almost like a hive mind. It's like everyone, if you do it right, like the whole club, everyone's partying the same way. Everyone's like kind of connected through like this energy. And I think a lot of that comes from the energy. I don't know. Maybe it's like a weird superstition thing. I don't literally think it's watching the DJ jump up and down and look excited. But like, it's almost like if you go into your transitions or your next songs you're picking with like the intention of feeling that energy, it just works better. But like weirdly, like I don't even know how to explain it, because I feel like two DJs could do exactly like almost identical transitions, but one person's just like sad about it and another person's like really into it. And some reason everyone else will be more into it too if you're more into it. I don't really know why, but it's just like there's a weird energy.
It goes back into something that Drew and I were actually just talking about. What you're saying is like, if you believe it's cool and that you project that, other people will believe it's cool.
Yeah. There's even times where I'll believe something super, super dope. And, there's that one person in the crowd that's like, what the fuck's the DJ playing this? And they'll like flip me off or something. And I just look at them like, I don't care, it's dope, But if I didn't think it was dope, I would look at that person and be like, oh no, I messed up. I'd be like, why did I do that? But like, and then that would like, and I think it's that energy that keeps it going. Because like, if I think it was dope, maybe I'll take that person's feedback into consideration. And my next song, I'll try to make them happy. But I'm still like going. But if I felt let down, like I messed up or something, then like maybe my next song would be bad too. Like I would keep in this like downward trend.
I try just not to make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. Just look that way, then glance at everybody and look the other way, go back.
Well, I find that happening a lot when I play like my Mariah Carey edit. Like I Will Always Love You or whatever. People look at me like I'm insane when I drop that. I've had people be like, what the fuck are you doing? But then I go into like Soulja Boy, afterwards. And that same person who was just like flipping me off is now losing their mind.
Yeah.
And I think it's partially because they like the Soulja Boy track, but it's also because they liked the transition, like of going from like you to you. They thought it was really cool. So I'm kind of like, you should have trusted me and, let me get there in the way that I thought was going to be cool for everyone.
I love that little transition you made. I think that all came from the DMS party, right?
It comes actually from you guys. I kind of stole that from y'all. You guys just didn't make it.
I think what you're just talking about is a really good point, and I think I'm guilty of letting stuff affect my mood when I DJ that I shouldn't. Sometimes I wish I could brush things off a little easier than I could. Sometimes stuff affects me, and I wish I was one of those people that could just like let it roll. And I feel like some nights I am, but is there any tips that you would give in terms of like not letting stuff like that affect you?
Yeah.
Or how
I can try. The thing is that so this topic's interesting to me too, because it does affect me from time to time. Like I'll have a bad day and I'll be like, time I'm going to work and DJ, and I notice those nights are worse. But I would say in general, just like being excited or like grateful that you're able to do this really cool job, and like remembering that it's awesome, and it like we're really lucky to be having such a cool job. So like I feel like if I remember that mindset, it helps a lot. Or like otherwise go have a shot or something.
and I think it's so hard to piss off, or it's so hard, not piss off, but it's so hard to make 200 plus people in any room not be mad at something you're doing, which,
sure.
you know, I think is why I really try and go in right out the gate, make everybody feel like, okay, at least this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then it gives me a little bit more leeway. If they don't love it, they're like, well, at least he's going to change it quick enough and move on to the next thing.
You're right, though.
Building that trust. So that they're like, okay, I don't love it, but the last 20 were good. So it's all right. Move it along.
It's definitely easier with like the bigger the crowd is. If it's a slow night or you're just getting started, to me, that's where I struggle more. And like all those pictures you see of me, that's once the crowd is packed and I'm having a great time. And it's like great energy. Everyone's going off. I love it.
Perception is everything, though.
If I happen to like lose the crowd or the crowd some reason starts going away, I go into a lot more of like a work mind where I'm a little bit more like just trying to figure out what to do to like make it perfect and get everyone back. But
question is there a specific song that you're playing to get that fire Instagram pic? You know what I mean? Where you're basically, I need to get an Instagram pic, get the camera ready, and then you drop. What song is it?
Weirdly, hotel room service has been doing that for me.
That's the one that you'll throw on and then get the camera ready, and you're going to get that moment.
Or I'll do something that I can like MC something that makes sense. I think this weekend I played Way Too Sexy, and I said something like, yo, if you're like the sexiest person here, put your hands up. Or something like that to try to get everyone to do that. And it worked. And everyone's like, yeah.
Yeah. I have been doing a little like, who's feeling way too sexy tonight before I play that one as well.
Yeah.
I got a question for you as somebody who plays in bars and clubs a lot more, and Drew's been in them a lot too. So one thing that I've really toned back since the COVID is drinking at my gigs. I've been trying to not drink pretty much at all at my gigs if possible. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's that one night where like a friend comes in or whatever, and you know, you're having a couple drinks, but I've been trying to just cut it out a lot. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to like quit completely because I like having fun and stuff. It's more of just like keeping control of myself and taking control of like, I don't have to be drunk to have a good time while DJing. But what I have noticed with myself, and I'll be the first to admit this, is when I'm not drinking, I let things bother me more than if I was. Because if I was drinking and like somebody came up and said something to me, I'd be like, whatever, like I don't care. Yeah. But like when I'm not, like, and I'm like so focused, and I feel like I do a better job when I'm not drinking, like because I'm so focused and I'm like so clear minded, and you know, I'm thinking so many songs ahead and what I'm gonna do. But it's like I kind of lose that like fuck it mentality, and sometimes I wish I could have the fuck it mentality of when I'm drunk when I was sober, because I feel like once you can like merge those two, it's like your DJ superpower is aligned.
Yeah, I don't drink at weddings at all, or really any private events. If I do, it's only at the bars or the clubs is when I'm drinking when I'm DJing. But I'm with you. I feel that I'm so much more focused, and my DJing is just way more spot on than it is if I'm drinking. But it does have that fuck it moment where I try a lot more, which is why I think I still like to do bars, is because I could drink at the bars, try a bunch of new things out, and if it really cracks off at the bar, take it to a private event or a wedding, and you know that it'll work. Yeah. But do you have any tips or for us, Fraze?
I'll tell you what, I'm tired of being hungover every weekend, so maybe I should take some tips from you guys on that one.
Well, you know, I was always surrounded by a lot of older DJs, and they would always go, "Oh, you could do this while you're young, but wait till you're older because you won't be feeling the same way." And I feel like
cusp of that.
I'm definitely feeling it way more now. And I'm not saying that, I'm old, but it definitely, there's something to be said for waking up every day and getting the day started and being productive. And but it's hard because you want to be the fun guy at the bar. You don't want to be the guy that is turning people down. It's a very hard thing to balance. I think honestly, it's one of the most overlooked challenges of the job is the happy balance between not being a complete waste of life drunk DJ and living up to that stereotype of what everybody thinks DJs are. And then, also, having fun at the gig and being like, if you play at a bar where like you're easily accessible, people kind of like expect you to be like the party guy too. Mm-hmm. And, they want that. And it's hard. It's hard sometimes to not drink and be that. And then, let's say, like you said, you're having a bad day and you carry all that into the bar with you and then you're not drinking. Yeah. And
because you had a bad day, you turned yourself around. Just sing that song.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
I do find, actually, I think I DJ best about 2 drinks in.
2 drinks in?
Yeah, because it's enough that I'm definitely not drunk. If anything, I'm only super, super minorly buzzed, but it's enough. So like I was saying, that energy before, where you're connecting with your crowd and you're playing to a bunch of drunk people, and in a sense, like I want my brain to be thinking that I'm really in that party. And I know that's probably like a poor mindset, but like about 2 drinks in, I feel like I'm good because it hasn't really like broken my mind yet or anything like that. But I'm having a good time. I start going over that and I start getting a little messier probably.
And what's your drink of choice?
I drink way too many vodka Red Bulls.
Vodka Red Bull. Oh, that is the young man's drink.
I'm trying to stop because that is probably what's helping.
I feel like that's like the worst hangover ever.
Oh God,
like that combo. It's like an upper and a downer all together.
I really started doing it right after when we came back from COVID stuff because I was so used to going to bed at like 10 o'clock. And I'd get to a gig like at 10 and I'd be like, oh my gosh, how am I going to stay awake? And I find that weirdly more than needing alcohol, if I'm tired at a gig, that's the worst. So like sometimes a Red Bull would snap me out of that.
I 100% before I go to a bar now, 100% go get a large cold brew coffee and I dust that or, an energy drink or whatever, dust that and bam, I'm set. So maybe that's what you need, Fuse. A little coffee.
No. See, that's the other thing. I try to limit myself to no more than 2 coffees or caffeinated drinks a day. I know this sounds like I'm like some super weird health conscious, like no fun guy in this episode, but like that's one of the things that I've learned like through the COVID is like the life that I was living in terms of like the party is not normal. It's not normal. I was working 5 nights a week in bars and you get so sucked into that, like everything that's happening in the bar is life. And it's like, dude, I don't care about the bar drama. I don't care about who's doing who and whose baby mama's doing like this. And like, I just don't care about any of that. And to be honest with you, I did the whole like social media unfollow and I haven't really even talked about that. A lot of it is because I was like resenting a lot of stuff that I was seeing. And it's like, why? I'm subjecting myself to this. And it's like, I don't need to be seeing that. If it makes me feel a certain type of way, like why? I'm just putting myself through it. And I don't know. I think that no matter how old you are and how there's always more to learn with yourself and you can like reinvent yourself and like what makes you happy. This podcast for me, and I know Drew said it too, it's been like a whole reinventing of myself and like DJing, and it's been great because it makes me excited about DJing again. When we talk about songs and we talk about music, it's been great.
DJing for all three of us was really, it started as a hobby that we built into a career, and you all of a sudden don't have that hobby anymore because you're doing it for work. So just a creative outlet in a different way, which, I will use as a little transition here. So you do a ton of remixes, it's how you kind of built yourself up through your remixes. And, we talked about how all the big artists that are playing your songs. What do you think, the importance of just producing edits or remixes or, in growing your brand, building your brand up to a bigger than, just a local DJ?
Yeah, well, that's definitely my story for being bigger than a local DJ, but it's also my story for success in being a local DJ. Because I've only been DJing now for 6 years as of Halloween. Halloween 6 years ago was like my first, I guess, professional DJ thing.
What was the party?
It was at Emblem nightclub in Tacoma. It was their opening night party of a remodeled, rebranded club.
No pressure. Jeez.
Yeah, and I was opening for Fraze. You guys know Fraze.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Fraze the homie. Shout out Fraze.
So there was also no pressure there because like he was like my favorite radio DJ, and I'd like listened to him on the radio for years, and he was like the first guy to like book me like professionally, and it was just to open, and I had no idea what I was doing. I'd been like kind of an EDM DJ before that, and so I went and played like nothing but like.
I'm curious how you got got this gig.
The club was reopening, so they were rehiring for like everything, and me and my buddy went down there with literally like mixtapes, and we claimed we were going in to interview for like a promoter position, and we were talking to the GM. It was like it was like a different room than the club. It was like, because the club was in the bottom of this like skyscraper building, so it was like up on one of the higher levels, and we were like, oh yeah, we kind of want to be promoters, but we'd rather DJ. And like he was like, oh, like go and head down to the club and talk to the owner. Like I don't know why he gave us that shot, but we went down there, and like I don't know, I'd like to say I'm pretty good at like BSing or kissing ass or something. I just went down there and I was like, oh, this place looks so good, and like blah blah blah, like talked to him for like a long time, and then he was like, yeah, send your mixes to Fraze, and like, we'll get you guys in here. It was actually a really cool club. It's one of the few ones in the Seattle area that booked like the big Seattle DJs, but also booked openers. Most clubs up here just book two bigger DJs and then they just go back to back all night. That's kind of like the general Seattle format, I would say.
What time do you guys play till?
Till 2.
Okay.
Most clubs are like 9 to 2 or 10 to 2.
Okay, same here.
Yeah. But yeah, it was cool. We got the shot there and started playing there and played there for a long time. It was like our home for a long time. But yeah, how did we get on this subject?
Were you making edits already then? Were you doing that?
Yeah, we were talking about producing. And,
yeah. So yeah, I started DJing there 6 years ago, and I was making more like originals at that point. And I started doing some remixes for a couple of reasons. I just started doing remixes, and I would play some of them there. And I think Fraze was actually one of the first people I played a remix or something. And he was like, oh, can you send that to me? And I hadn't even, at that point, I think I had heard of record pools, but like, and stuff like that. But I was still really new to DJing. So like the idea of sharing my edits with other people was like somewhat foreign to me. Like I knew I could put music on SoundCloud or YouTube or whatever, but I didn't realize like, oh, another DJ actually wants something I made. Like what? So that was really cool. And then the second part of the story, we booked Dibs and MGM to come through and headline at our spot. And they were doing a lot of cool edits at the time. And I'd like played some, so like I knew them and stuff, and I was like talking to them about it. And I kind of started copying their formula. So up until I met Dibs and MGM, I was making remixes where I'd strip all the instrumental, just have the acapella, And I thought, like, because I kind of learned from the EDM guys, like, you had to completely change the track. Like, you don't want it to sound anything like the original. You want to have, like, you want to take, like, a pop song and make it sound like a rock song, or you want to take a rock song and make it sound like an EDM song, or, like, you want to make it something weird. But I was watching what they did, and they pretty much would take an original, redrum it, add a build, add a drop, go back to the original with the redrum. And I started doing that because I could pump out a remix like that in almost a day because it was a lot simpler. And it's what worked in clubs because people want to hear the original track with some added energy, have it do something fun, and then go back to the song they like, which is really how I learned what DJs want in an edit or DJs want in a remix. So I started making a bunch of those, and through actually Dibs and MGM is how I originally got my songs up on DJ City because they were involved with that. And they kind of all just started there. Other people started finding my work from there, and my stuff started going everywhere. And and then the way that it helped my career locally too is I opened at Emblem Nightclub, and I also bar backed at Emblem Nightclub when I wasn't DJing. And I would be bar backing, and some of the other Seattle DJs that I'd never met would come through, and they'd be playing my stuff. And I'd like go up to them and be like, "Hey, this is mine, by the way. I'm the bar back here," you know. And some of them thought it was like freaking cool. Like they would like take pictures with me and stuff. Like they thought I was some sort of weird celebrity. Because like some of my stuff was being played by like a ton of people. Like they were like pretty big edits, and most of these guys were like, "What? This guy's local?" Like they had no idea that I was like bar backing at a freaking club they were playing at. But that's what gave me a shot at other spots because a lot of DJs are also booking people. So I was able to be like, "Oh, cool. Can I like come play up at your spot?" And they're like, "Heck yeah. Like you made these freaking edits that I play all the time. Like, of course you can come play my spot." Right. And so like, to me, I think success, my story of success or a version of how it's easy to break into the DJ scene is to make edits and make things that are really easily shareable. If not edits, maybe mixes or something like something that other local DJs, other DJs around the world, like can see and play. And while I haven't overly utilized it, I could use the same exact story to go play in pretty much any state because I have DJ connections now all over the world because they play my stuff, and I could pretty easily be like, "Hey, I want to come play with you," and they'd be like, "Yeah, I know who you are, so come DJ." So that was a really big help for me.
I agree. It's 100% how I've been able to make a career out of this and travel around and not just be stuck here locally. Yeah. It's been huge. I mean, that's how I know both of you guys. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
and people know your name. It's awesome.
I think it's a big boost, and you know, people are always willing to help out someone else that's at least trying to help everyone else. So if we're all helping each other towards the same common goal, then you're going to get farther than if you just are asking for handouts.
Yeah, exactly.
And not actually putting anything back in the pot.
Exactly. If I just hit up those even Seattle DJs and been like, "Hey, can I come play in your spot?" They'd be like, what's this kid doing? But like, it hurt me.
Well, speaking of remixes, what would you say is one of the biggest remixes you've ever done, or what went viral for you?
It's so weird everything has success in different ways. Like I would say my favorite one was Marshmallow Here With Me. That one's it's got the most like trackable plays for me by large DJs. That one, I think Diplo played that one, and Tiesto and Chainsmokers played it all in mixes, which is where I really can see it the most. Like you guys heard mine played by Chainsmokers live, but like I can't track that. But if it's in a mix, I can be like, look, it's right here. Or like Tiesto played it, and he literally said right before, like, now the Fraze remix of this song, which was cool. So that one's been the coolest success for me. And also I've heard that one on the radio a lot. Like I'd just be driving around and it would like pop on some DJ's mix or something. So I would say that's probably my most successful personally. But in other quantifiable success ways, I guess, like my 24 Karat Magic remix on SoundCloud has almost like 500,000 plays. It's not my favorite remix by all, like at all, but like it did really well on there. I don't know.
and that's because Bruno's just so big, so people are just searching for. It's almost as if
that's when I had the back. That's like when I was starting making edits, and my formula was take a song that was obvious to blow up. Like Bruno hadn't put out a song in a minute. He put out 24 Karat Magic, and I had a remix out like that day.
Do you think that could almost be? I think it's smart, but at the same time, sometimes with these big songs, when they come out and you see 8,000 remixes of it, it almost buries your chances of going to the top of it, because there's 15 on a record pool and you're going, oh my goodness, it's overkill. Whereas maybe doing that track that no one touched, and then you're the only one, or one of one or two.
Like California Dreamin' by the Mamas and Papas.
Yeah.
I could actually see that being bigger.
All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray.
Yeah.
Could you imagine in the club? I'm just like, what?
Honestly, like I think that could be pretty dope, but it would just hit that hook for a second, and then it'd have to build something higher. Anyway.
I can see it being big here in California, so I don't.
Yeah, I feel it.
I'm not saying it couldn't be, because there was a remix I found a while ago that I used to play when like the trap stuff was big, and it was just a hook. It's just like, I just think it's so ironically funny how stuff is just coming back around. And
well, because that's the only way you can really break through anything. The songs come and go so fast that you nothing's breaking through that's new. You got to rehash some old shit.
And that's kind of what I was going to say is like, so you're saying, okay, picking a song that is going to be big or blow up, but you could also do it the opposite. It's like, if you kind of know where the trend is going, and then you pick a song that like,
a resurging,
a resurge. Yeah. You can do that way too. Like, and if the DJ remix gods line up and the song just happens to turn out to be dope, it's like that can shoot you up to the top too. And it's like you were talking about with Dibs and MGM and their style. Those guys are great, by the way. I love both of those guys, and we've met them before. Yeah, shout out to both of those guys. Mac J, for example, was doing that same kind of like bootleg style, and that's Dunk's homie. And that
was like the formula.
Yeah, and he blew up. I mean, but that I will say he was the one really, really doing that when that was just starting to be a thing. I remember, Drew, you were there when we watched him at XS, and I think it was like after Avicii or before Avicii or something, and it was like late at night at XS. It was like 4 a.m. or something, and they had him play for an hour after Avicii, and he was just crushing it.
Well, he actually DJs like a DJ, right? Versus the EDM guys who were just playing the songs all the way out. He was DJing like an open format room DJ, and he was just slamming through tracks, lots of familiarity into a drop, and I just think at that time those EDM guys didn't get it. It's changed now, but I remember that time specifically, those guys just didn't really get it, and he was just hammering tracks.
That's got to be, I would say that was like 2010, 2011, somewhere in there.
13.
Was it that late? 13?
Yeah.
That night, that was crazy watching him do that. And then, but I mean, Avicii was up there playing like the full, like 5-6 minute version of all of his tracks too. So it's like, and that was dope too, because I mean, but it does tend to get a little like, once you're an hour into that set, you're like, okay, I'm a little bored now. Like,
it only worked because it's Avicii. There to see the dude, like, oh, that's cool.
He's an artist, and he did have a lot of big tracks, but it takes. He's not. I wouldn't call him a DJ. I would call him just an artist that was DJing.
And I love
equipment.
I love him. I still listen to. He's probably one of the few DJs that I listen to their music like personally. I love the melodic of his music is great, and I'll never forget that same night when he did play. He started off with "I Could Be the One," and it was just like the vocal started. And the crowd, like he wasn't up, everybody, all the DJs do the high thing, and then they raise out of nowhere. Yeah. And so it was just the vocal started, and the crowd just roared a loud roar, and it was just cool. I mean, I'll never forget being in the club that night. It was really cool. So we have a question that you had asked us and wanted to talk about, and it was, are open format DJs dying out? Do you you don't tend to see a lot of younger open format DJing right now? And I kind of agree with you. I couldn't say even here locally, besides one of my friends that he opened for Drew when he was here, Nick, and he's not even like young at this point. He's like 27. I don't know. I think it has to do with a few things. I don't necessarily think that open format DJing is dying out. I just think that all these guys want to be the next, Diplo or Tiesto, and like they think that you got to produce, and you do. I mean, we all sit here and make music and make our edits, and I think that it is a big part of being successful as a DJ, whether you're just making your own edits or you're producing full-on tracks or remixes. I think that's very important. But I think it's more of this instant gratification generation. A lot of it is they all want to be successful with doing the least. And damn well as much as I do that to be successful as a DJ, it takes the most. I mean, look at me and Drew are doing a podcast now because we want to make our DJ careers more successful. I mean, and with that being said, it's like when I started DJing, and I know when Drew started DJing too, it was like you were just a DJ. You just played the music, and now and this too, you are doing marketing, you're making flyers, you're making videos, and you have to learn how to do all this because, hey, let's face it, like if you're playing in a bar, a lot of like the pay rate isn't that well. So like if you want these things and want to look cool on the gram and TikTok and all of that, you got to figure out how to do all this stuff yourself. But it's not
crazy
easy
too, like, because you say like the pay rate isn't that great, which it could be better, but that's why it surprises me that all these kids are going more like the EDM route. Because I'm not saying there aren't young DJs. I'm just they all go like the EDM route, and they go play for these collective nights where it's like, we got 10 DJs, you all get a 15-minute set. We're gonna pay you, $5 and a drink ticket.
Yeah,
and like I just don't see how that's maybe they don't know there's other options, but I don't see how that's attractive. Like as a working DJ, like making $200 plus, to play like half a night. I'm like, why would you go DJ for a drink ticket? Like, and I just don't know if maybe some of these younger kids don't realize that they could be making a lot more with their career. Because like similarly, I produced before I DJ'd, and it was similar. It was like I wanted to be the next Diplo or whatever, right? But I would rather learn to DJ successfully in an open format club, make my money that way, and produce all day instead of working at Target or wherever for 10 hours a day and then producing at night, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And I think you could do both, and there's a way to do it all where you can be a good producer and blow up that way and still make your living as an open format DJ. I think you could do all of that. But one of the thing a friend of mine said to me when I was just starting DJing, and I think it like resonated with me, is he was like, do you want to like look cool and be a DJ, or do you want to be cool because you're a good DJ? And I was like, You know what? That's a really good point. And and I kind of stuck with me is like, you're going to be cool if you learn the craft and further the career of not only yourself, but like if you can do things that help other DJs, such as like producing and making edits. And like if other people are playing your stuff, then you're pushing the culture as well.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
I took the question a little bit differently than I think you guys are talking about, but just about open format DJs dying out is open format DJing, I think, has actually helped me tremendously in doing some of the travel events that I'm doing, because I feel that not everyone can really play a true open format without really caring about the songs. People like their hip hop or they like EDM, but really just being able to play anything well and taking yourself out of it, I think is people are looking for these days, and it's harder to find because people have become so niche, right?
Yeah.
And just being able to a little bit more open-minded, and whether you think something's cool or whack or whatever, just
such a big part of it, honestly.
Being able to just really play and read the room, just taking yourself out of it, I think has always helped my career in that, yes, I hate Play That Funky Music, White Boy, and I don't need to hear Love Shack, but I'm still playing open format. I can still play a good mix of everything. So I think it's necessary for some of these young DJs to realize that, you're playing for the room, not necessarily yourself.
Yeah. I think a lot of people miss that.
Fraze, I don't know. Was somebody making your hotline bling over there? What was happening?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you hear that? Speaking of, we just want to reiterate that we do have the YOLO line, and that anybody can always give us a call at any time at 562-246-YOLO, and feel free to ask questions or anything like that. You can bring up a topic we discussed on today's show, questions for Fraze. We can always ask Fraze questions if he's not on the show and have him record us a little video answering them, and we'll play them on the show. Please feel free to use that to help the show in any way you want, or get your questions answered or whatever.
And do we have a recent YOLO call?
Yeah, we do have a recent YOLO call. Fraze, we're going to play this with you on, if that's cool. But just so you know, when this is playing, nobody will be able to hear you. So here we go. We got a YOLO call in from a friend, Big Earn. We're going to play that now.
Yeah, I'm calling for Drew and Fuse. Calling to say I'm just really disappointed that we just passed an entire Latino month and totally overlooked having a Latino guest. Yeah, can I get the order of barbecue pork, please, and some sake? Thank you. Yeah, and gosh, I'm just, and today of all days, it's El Dia de Muertos. And not one Latin person that could be going on there. Yeah, hold on one second. Can I get some shrimp fried rice and some of the orange chicken, please? Yeah, and please hurry up with the sake. I would really appreciate that. So, that's why I'm calling right now, the YOLO line, because, just to share that I'm hurt. I'm really, really hurt. Because you're celebrating heritage, and what better way to celebrate heritage than to have somebody of Latino descent from, on your show? That would have been so freaking cool. A little maracas, a little something. But no, we just passed that right up. Make sure you bring the fortune cookies too, please. That'd be great. All right. So, anyways, guys, really, really hurt. Really hurt. Okay. Much love, and this is Big Earn. Love y'all.
The most random message ever. He's ordering barbecue ribs and Chinese food and drinking sake all at the same time.
Sounds like a good meal.
Is he in the drive-thru drinking sake? How does that work?
Yeah, I want to know what restaurant he's at where he's ordering all those different types of places. But much love to Big Earn. We will get somebody on, and you'll love it.
Keep the YOLO line calls in coming. We appreciate them.
Yeah, definitely. Fraze, it's been great having you on today. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? One thing we really haven't asked, is there any new technology that you're using right now that you're into?
I really like this mic, which is actually really cool. It's a Slate audio mic. It is a cheaper mic, it's like $800, but it models like $2,000 plus mics, which is kind of
nice.
Cool. So if you're looking for a good mic to record vocals for theme songs on, Slate Digital ML1 is a good one.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I need a new DJ controller, but I don't have one yet. I'm trying to look for one.
They just released that today. PJ, who we're having on the show soon, is a Pioneer rep. They just announced that new controller today. That's going to be it's got record box, and it's going to have Serato support too. So you're going to be able to plug in. With, yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
It has a 10-inch touchscreen display. It looks pretty badass.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up.
RX3, I want to say it is.
XDJ RX3, all-in-one system. That's right. Yeah, nice. And it's only a 2-channel mixer, but it like mimic all the effects and everything mimics that of the DJM 900. So
nice. I'll check that out. I've been using the S7 a bit, which is kind of cool. It's the S9.
Any major difference from an S9?
Yes, the major difference is that each channel's like hot pad key buttons, whatever you call them, can be changed separately. So on one side you could have like a loop roll going, and on the other side you could have your cue points or stuff like that, compared to the S9 where you have to change, you only get one selection for both sides simultaneously. So I would say that's the cool update on it. Other than that, it's pretty much just a new S9.
I played on an S11 just recently, and I own S9, and that's basically all I play on, or an SRT. But I played on an S11, and it's a big mixer.
Oh yeah,
the pads are nicer. Everything about it was I really liked it. Yeah. The screen was very fluid. I'm a fan, but I don't know that I'd need that screen at all. So I'd probably settle with the S7.
Yeah, the S7 I feel like is the true successor to the S9.
Yeah. Did you notice a sound difference?
That's what I was just going to ask.
I have heard that the sound card's better.
I've heard it's better as well. So I've been playing on that at STK, which normally we play the music fairly quietly. So I haven't really been able to check it on like a full loud system, but it sounds fine in there.
What else do we got? Fuse. Any other questions we have for him? Do you have any travel hacks? Any travel tips? It's always something we like to ask our guests.
I actually don't travel that much, honestly. So no, I need to start traveling. My intention was to start traveling right around when COVID hit. I was going to go over to the East Coast and rent a van and drive down the coast and stop and DJ like everywhere I could. That was my intention. But then COVID hit, and then since COVID's over, I've been so slammed with stuff here. I think I'm trying to compensate for the year of nothing that I haven't even been able to have time to think about it. But I don't really have too much travel hacks, except for if you're bringing in a lot of gear, save time for them to pat you down at security. It's like whenever I brought it's more like when I bring my camera and batteries and like drone and stuff like that anywhere, they're always going to check your bag. So
yeah, you got to get that TSA pre.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I traveled this weekend and I skipped the line right away. I'm getting in and out of the airport in 10 minutes, and I can't believe I still have friends that don't have the TSA pre. I feel that anybody that's listening, if you plan on getting an airplane at least twice in a year, get that TSA pre. That is a
It's
must.
like $70. I just renewed mine last week. Literally, I got an email. Hey, yours is expiring. You needed to renew it.
Worth every penny. Every penny.
You don't got to take your shoes off, your coat. Like, you don't have to take your laptop out of the bag. All
Which
that
is
stuff.
big.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
That's
the
really
laptop out of the bag, you don't have to have 15 buckets. You just put everything in and push it through.
Well, that's always been a good thing too. It's like, okay, all my life is on this laptop, and then I'm just throwing it in the bucket for somebody to, just
grab on the other side, whatever.
Yeah, and then
Sketchy.
like,
Sketchy. Yeah.
This was one of the questions that you kind of touched on here that you had sent us in. Is you've been working now 60 plus hours and doing edits and doing remixes and DJing. You got it's a part-time job as well.
Yeah,
on top
I have
of the
a part-time
DJing
job doing marketing for a venue. On top of
That's
DJing
rad.
and on top of edits and everything. And it's like 60, 70 hours a week. I more or less wake up and then I just work all day. I've had a number of days, like last Thursday, I got up, made my radio mixes, went and worked at the venue I do marketing for, went and DJ'd before the Kraken game, and then I went and did a bar in the evening until 2 a.m. and I think it was a 17-hour day.
I think all of us are. I know I'm very guilty of it. 2020 hit, and we all said, "I will never relive that." And now I'm just like work.
Mm-hmm.
To where
any opportunity that comes up, I'm like, and I'm like, maybe we should stop doing that. I don't know.
Dude, it's the end of the year, and I think I finally hit my wall where I'm like, I need like a week off. I'm burned out. But how are you dealing with it? Maybe you could share tips and tricks on just being able to plan your day correctly and avoid that burnout.
I'm trying to reorganize my schedule a bit, especially living an hour from Seattle and Bellevue. I'm trying to give myself a couple of days in a row that I can just work from home. And I'm sort of a workaholic. I actually kind of love work. It gets stressful for me when I'm doing like 5 different things and I have to drive a lot. So if I can just be at home and I can sit down on my computer all day, like to me, that's like the best day ever. Weirdly, like my way to avoid burnout is to just schedule my time so that the amount of times I actually have to go somewhere is more condensed or limited. And then I can have 2 or 3 days where I can just laser around home and work. Because to me, like that's the work-life balance like that really works for me. If I can work on something for an hour and then I can go take a 10-minute walk, I can go make myself a snack. I can, play whatever music I want. Like, I love that. And it's just, as long as I'm doing creative stuff, if I'm making music, if I'm working on graphic design, whatever, it's all stuff I love. So.
And it's much more acceptable these days to be working at home. I think a lot more employers are open to the idea as long as you're getting your shit done.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Fuse, you got anything left?
I don't. I think we covered a lot of good stuff today, and honestly, I think it was great having you on. And people are gonna love hearing about all the different stuff that you do, and I think people are gonna love the fact that you're this great producer, and they're gonna love hearing that you do a country bar and a club. They're gonna love hearing that you bar backed in the bar. It's all these great things. Sometimes people just like hearing that, like, people are normal people and they get their start, however you get your start. And today's been great, and we'll definitely have to have you back on again just to talk more.
Actually, if you have a quick second, I did have one last question we meant to ask because it's kind of a big deal. One of the things that we're going to start bringing you back on as a reoccurring guest is music production tips for all of the listeners. And maybe you could leave them with one now, and then, everybody look forward to having Fraze on coming up in the future, and he's going to be dropping music production knowledge on you guys. So, if you could leave them with something before we go.
Yeah. Okay. One of the biggest tips I ever got, and I'll pass it along. I took a production lesson, like one-on-one with Kyle Tree a handful of years back. He's a half of Gray, like did the middle with Zed, Starving, Haley Steinfeld, and also Zed. And one of the biggest tips that he told me was that you got to layer anything not real with something real. So if you're using a synth, and actually it's a good example from the theme song here too. I played the guitar on that little guitar solo thing, but it's also layered with a synth to make it sound more full. But it's a little bit of that real with a little bit of that synthetic, which makes it sound to the ear still real, even though there's synthetic in there. So if that's layering a guitar with a synth, if that's layering a pluck with the sound of like some keys dropping or like something recorded, like a little Foley sample, that's going to make the ear like the sound better and make it way more interesting. So get natural sounds in your work.
That's actually one of my favorite parts in that theme song is the guitar solo.
Yeah.
I love when that part comes in. It's such a rise in the song. It goes well into transitioning to the yaz and all that stuff. So I love that part.
Definitely. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up today. And we just want to say thank you so much for coming on. And it was great once again. And again, if everybody listening has any more questions, we're going to have Fraze on. He's going to do a little segment with production tips. But if there's anything anybody wants to ask him, just reach out and we'll get the questions answered. You can leave us a voicemail. You can just hit us with a DM. Again, if you are on YouTube, we ask that you please subscribe and like the video and make a comment. And if you're listening on iTunes, please rate and review as well. And tag us in your stories if you're listening. We love seeing everybody listening. We appreciate all the sharing and all of that. It's only going to help grow the show.
Fraze, leave us with where they can find you on Instagram, YouTube, website, anything you got. Hit them.
Yeah, Instagram, it's Fraze. YouTube, if you just search Fraze Music, you can find my music YouTube. If you search Fraze, you can find my other YouTube where I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with it. But right now it's weird things like financial tips. But they're both, they have 2 YouTube channels. I also comment on a lot of the Drew and Fuse show episodes, so you can probably find me in the comments there. Yeah, and come find me in Seattle.
Hey, well, we will be coming up to Seattle, and we're gonna get our boots and our scootin' and our boogie.
Let's do it.
We're gonna be there up there.
I'm excited.
Well, we appreciate it, and that's going to wrap up today's show. Thanks for all the punks out there for listening, and look for the merch line coming soon, and we'll talk to you guys later. See you guys.